Hey, welcome back to Common Touch of Fantasy. My name is Paul, and today we are doing the BookTube SFF Babble, Where to Start in Science Fiction. Now, the choices that I have are very obvious choices, and I am a science fiction noob. I have not read a whole lot of science fiction books, probably a dozen. I only started getting into science fiction a little over a year ago. When I joined BookTube. So these are the books that I think are good for people starting out in science fiction. Some of the books that I read starting out in science fiction myself. I know there are people like myself that hasn't read a lot of science fiction, so even though my choices are rather obvious, I still think that they're needed, and that maybe somebody might see something that says, hey, that sounds cool, let's try science fiction. Okay, so for the books that I actually have, first book is an obvious choice, The Martian by Andy Weir. Huge movie, huge book the last few years. If you haven't read this yet, give it a try. Move it up on your TBR and give it a try. It is worth the read. The hype is real with this one. Then I have Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, another science fiction book that has a lot of hype. This one is a little bit older. It's written back in the 1950s. Fantastic book that is written really well. And it's one of those science fiction classics, the staples that everyone should read. And then I'm going to suggest some of John Scalzi's books. I read John Scalzi in audiobook. I think on audiobook, John Scalzi is just fantastic. His very humorous writing transfers extremely well to audiobook. So the first book is the Old Man's War book, and that's the first book in the Old Man's War series. A fantastic entry point into science fiction, space opera. This is where I started with space opera, and I'm very happy I did it. It is humorous, it is fun, but at the same time, there are complexities in the story, and I love the Old Man's War series. And then The Lock-In by John Scalzi is for you people out there that like crime fiction, that like mystery. It's science fiction mixed with mystery, and it's all about this guy that can go inside a robot and control the robot because his body is at home, and he's in a coma-like state. And he is an investigator, and he's investigating a murder. And it's just a fantastic world and a fantastic story. I really like that one a lot. And Illuminate by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is a BookTube SFF Awards nominee for this year. I think it's a great entry point for science fiction, especially for young adult readers. I think that young adult readers can connect to it in a way that is recognizable, but at the same time it's going to take them into places that they might not have been taken in the past in previous books. It's more of like a straight science fiction YA book, and that's fantastic in my opinion. And then the last book I want to suggest is Dune by Frank Herbert. Dune is a staple in science fiction. I think it's a little bit dated now, but it is still a good read. There's some things in it that I don't particularly care for, but at the same time, it's a great place to start science fiction, to kind of get your mind around where the main science fiction mainstream books came from, and then if you read a newer book, you can see where it has ended up. And I think Dune is a great book to read so that you can kind of put the science fiction genre in perspective. Okay? Alright, those are the books that I started with science fiction, and I hope that this video has helped someone out there like myself that just started with science fiction or really doesn't know where to start. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If there's a book that you think that people should start with science fiction, go ahead and mention it down below. Thanks guys.